Hey there, guys. It's Saturday. Who loves Saturdays? I just got to work with some clients today, and I'm sporting my Restoration Chiropractic shirt. Dr. Jake Schumann. I love him. He's awesome. So, hey, how many of you have ever had the autoimmune flu? Do you even know what that is? Maybe I made up the term. I don't know. I used to call it that when I'd be like, have no explanation for why I was sick. So this morning, or this week, I knew that I was going to be starting my SIBO healing journey. So if you've been following me, I was explaining that I finally feel like I hit a gold mine, and I have tried several things, and I think now there's so much more research to help people with SIBO. So I found out I had SIBO in November, and determined after trying all kinds of other things for years that food avoidance is not the answer. And now that I know I have SIBO, I have a small bacteria overgrowth in my small intestine, or not small, I have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. That's what you call it. So I have these bacteria that are growing in the small intestine, and the goal is, how do you get rid of that? And they're really tricky. So Dr. Pompa is a doctor that I follow. I've done a couple of his programs, and I've been really successful post-cancer. And so he did this free little book. It's 3 steps, SIBO and CEO guide. So SIBO is bacterial overgrowth, CEO, yeast overgrowth. So I'm starting it today. And I knew I was going to start it, so I decided this week to go out on a limb and eat some things I don't normally eat. And when I do that, I don't feel that great, right? So my kids were like, Mom, let's go for ice cream. I don't ever eat ice cream because it's like usually makes me feel really sick. So I had a little bit of ice cream. I don't know, what else did I have that is not normal for me? They got some pizza the other day. I was like, I'm just gonna eat a piece, or maybe 2. And here's what happens to my body, and maybe you can relate. I literally feel like I have the autoimmune flu. So I end up feeling like sick. Like once I have things in my body that the bacteria feeds on. So bacteria will feed on fiber and sugar, and that's why people do the low FODMAP diet, because the low FODMAP foods, FODMAP, if you don't know what it is, it's an acronym for fermentable oligosaccharides, monosaccharides, and polyols. So these are the foods that contain these things would be things like apples and asparagus and mushrooms and pork, what else? Beans, a lot of things like chickpeas, and oh gosh, what else? I mean, literally it's like all my favorite stuff, dairy, things like that. So those foods tend to feed on the bacteria, which is why people that have SIBO end up feeling bloated and sick and stuff like that. So my stomach yesterday literally looked like I was 6 months pregnant, and it gets really hard on the right side. The ileocecal valve is on that side, so now that I understand that, it makes sense why I used to sit there and massage my right side of my body to kind of get things moving through, because there's a bunch of nerves in there. It's a nerve plexus, and it can get damaged by toxins and things like that. So all of that to say, I woke up this morning feeling super thirsty. I'll feel really, really dehydrated. I feel congested, like I'll feel lots of congestions. Now, usually once I get moving around, it seems to go away quickly. And I think that's probably because I eat relatively healthy, and drink lots of water, lots of hydration. Like in the morning, I usually will drink 2 8-ounce glasses of water just to flush my system out. And then a lot of times I'll make some hot water with lemon and apple cider vinegar too, because that will help to increase the hydrochloric acid in your stomach. So I'll do that, and things start to get moving. But generally, I'll feel like congestion in my sinuses. I'll even feel like I'm getting a sore throat. And then my stomach, it just feels bloated and hard and just not good. Maybe a little gassy or irritated full. Like I'll feel this full feeling like for several hours before well, a lot of times it won't even get better. So usually if I eat like a lot of stuff like that, I will feel sick. So most of my life I've just avoided, right? The consequences of how I was going to feel, I was like, I don't want to feel like that. And that's why there's a lot of foods I stopped eating. But when it came to the point where like a lot of my healthy foods were on the list, and as I removed those, I felt better. I was like, okay, this does not make sense. I should be able to eat asparagus, and green apples are like my favorite things. I should be able to eat these foods, and I feel sick. This doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I got the guide and I'm ready to go. So I'm just going to share a little bit about the supplements I'm starting with. I talked about all the ones that were on the list. I showed you those, but here's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to be doing Bactrex. That's one that I'm going to do. This helps to support the immune system and improve or normalize the bacteria. I have this Candida complex, so I'm going to do that for yeast and fungus overgrowth and things like that. So I had the mold tested in my house, and there were some areas that had some Candida overgrowth. So it wasn't really high, but it still was like, okay, well, let's figure out how to eradicate that as best we can. So I chose to do that one. And then the other one I'm going to do is this colloidal silver. So that's, if you haven't heard about that, basically that can help improve your your immune system. It can help with if you have cancers. And I was reading about it, and basically what it does is when silver is in the presence of these bacteria and viruses and fungus, it can literally suffocate its oxygen. So it disables its oxygen mechanism. So it just basically suffocates it or disables it and helps some of the bacteria to die. So those three are called killers. They're going to kill the bacteria in my gut. And then I'm going to take those with what's called Interphase Plus. It's from Clear Labs. And this is going to help break down the biofilm. So biofilm is something that when your body has this overgrowth of bacteria, it will protect itself in like a casing of, to sound kind of gross, like boogers. Basically it's like mucus and, so it kind of covers itself so that it protects it from these killers coming in. That's why a lot of times people who have taken the killers and they're like, it didn't work, it didn't help, I got worse and things like that. And part of it's because you have to break down the biofilm at the same time you're killing the bacteria. So I'm doing that one, and then the last one I'm going to do is called Nerve. Okay, so that's by Systemic Formulas. That's where I got that one. This is going to help to improve the nerves. So I've always had this issue on the right side of my body where I have felt like things get stuck. I didn't understand it, when I was younger, what was going on, but because there's a nerve plexus in there, a lot of times your doorway will stay shut between the small intestine and the large intestine, and so these nerves need to be stimulated and open up to allow small particles of food from the small intestine into the large intestine. When there's a dysfunction because of toxins, your nerves aren't as strong. They just don't work as well. So chiropractic care is really, really helpful. My husband had CRPS, complex regional pain syndrome. The doctors that help with that, his doctor that he went to actually fixes or takes the pressure off the vagus nerve, which is on top of the spine and kind of where like the atlas sits. And so if you have access to something like that, awesome. That can actually help the function of all the nerves to get stronger. But this is just a supplement that is recommended that you can take for that. So here's the other crazy thing, okay? I am pretty much whole food plant-based, and I'm about to do carnivore diet for 2 weeks. And here's the thing, I think, I don't promote myself as a vegan because I'm not, and I don't promote myself as only, that you should only eat, fruits and vegetables. I think that you need to get your diet mainly plant-based, but I also know the benefits of, especially in particular, people with autoimmune illness and nerve conditions that benefit greatly from high-fat diets, that benefit greatly from having animal products. So knowing this, when I looked at this and read, step 1 for 2 weeks, 7 to 14 days is the recommendation. Carnivore diet, 0 carbs and fiber, meat and fat only diet. So it says, allowed healthy oils, coconut oil, ghee, olive oil, grass-fed butter, eggs, and high-quality meats, and no dairy other than butter. So guess what I'm doing today? So I'm going to do this for the next 7 to 14 days. My goal is to get to 14 days, but I'm really gonna be aware of my body, how it feels, all that. Obviously 0 carbs, you're not gonna have the energy, but it's a short-term fix. So one size fits one is really, that is my philosophy, that there is not one standard diet for everyone. In fact, I'm gonna have somebody on my podcast who was vegan and plant-based, and she had a crippling disease that affected her nervous system and was paralyzed, and she is recovering. I mean, it's an amazing story. Her name's Unicourt, so if you don't follow her, you need to follow her. Her story and journey is amazing. But she was vegan. She was a plant-based person and didn't eat meat, and today I saw her, she was down at the McKinney Farmers Market, talking about the bone broth she's gonna make and the meats and the fats and the things that help the nerve cell. Which keto diets, if you have things like CRPS, or you have seizures, or any of those neurological conditions, MS, things like that, having high-fat diet or a keto-style diet can actually be really beneficial for you. So even though right now that's a big marketing thing, and I agree, I wouldn't recommend that just for anybody, like, oh, you want to lose weight, go on the keto diet. No, you need to change your habits. You need to get off the standard American diet. You need to learn to change your habits. But people that have autoimmune dysfunction, if you have neurological conditions, if you have something like SIBO, you need to take different measures. And I have already talked to doctors that, they focus on eating more raw fruits and vegetables, or they'll say, are you whole food plant-based? And I'm like, yeah, I've already done all that. I've gotten rid of meat in my diet. I used to do all raw. I did that for probably a good 6 weeks. Years ago, and that didn't fix my condition. So I have done a lot of different things. I've never done the carnivore diet. So here we go. We're gonna start today with this carnivore diet and these supplements, and I'm gonna be blogging about this. I'm gonna be taking you guys on my journey, letting you know how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what I'm making. I mean, it's relatively easy, right? I got eggs in there. I have some ground, turkey, ground beef, and organic, grass-fed, grass-finished. So we're just gonna go from there. So, all right, stay tuned. And if you want more information, just let me know. Dr. Pompa is who to follow. His story of curing his own autoimmune illness is really what helped me to start following him. And I've had a lot of success doing some of the things because, even as a nutrition coach, I got cancer anyway, probably because of the inflammation and the SIBO that was in my stomach, that nobody really could help me. I've gone to a lot of different GIs and done a lot of different things, and I feel like somebody is finally attacking this and going upstream and figuring out how to fix this in a way that makes sense to me finally. So I am looking forward to this journey, 3 to 6 months. And it's a journey that I'll be on, but I am willing to do that and hopefully help other people to figure out how to fix their gut issues. All right, but today, if you have belly issues, but you're still eating the standard American diet and lots of processed foods, you need to get off of that first. Start there, start drinking more water, aim for a gallon or half of your body weight in water. Start implementing apple cider vinegar, hot water, and lemon in your morning to increase your hydrochloric acid before you go on Prilosec and some of those other, protein pump inhibitors. And then, start to get off the processed food. That's number one, and start adding more plants and vegetables. Those are prebiotic foods into your diet. So if that doesn't fix your problem, then you need to look further. But I'm gonna tell you that for a lot of my clients is step one. I put them on my 21-day cleanse, and they just totally feel better. They don't have the inflammation, and they're able to understand that they actually feel good. They actually feel good when they're eating this way, and when you go back the other way, you don't feel as good. So sometimes though, your body doesn't know how to fix things, and you have to do different things. So, all right, awesome. All right, Tracy Robert, if you want to know more about me and what I do, mosaicfitnut.com. I have a 21-day cleanse, so check that out. And I do nutrition coaching and personal training as well. So thanks guys for watching.